Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another exciting episode of your favorite podcast, The Journey Called Love. Well, it's still Damlola Days in the building, and this is The Journey Called Love podcast, just in case you're wondering. And of course, I give practical guides on doing relationship the right way, and that's the God's way. We are in a learning stage, we're learning together, and it's been a very wonderful pleasure bringing us together on this journey. I'm sounding this way because season 3 is about coming to an end, and oh my god, I can imagine, right? So we've been talking about communication from the beginning of April, and I believe that you've picked something. You must have caught yourself somehow. Right? And I also believe that we are becoming good communicators, better communicators, as the case may be. Well, today, I know last week we were talking about how to use your words the right way, what to say and how to say it, majorly on words. I remember, us me dwelling on the I technique, using the expressing how you feel rather than trying to make the other person feel guilty or feel bad about the situation, expressing how you feel about that situation rather than painting so obviously the other person's action. All right, so yeah, there are of course other examples to that, but today I want to actually talk on something a little bit different, but definitely still on communication, and I want to call it communication strategy, but that might be just too much grammar. But yeah, let's just leave it at that, right? Okay, so I realized that there are different ways to deal with different issues. There are some issues that you have to talk about immediately, with words. I mean, like the way they are, talk about them, say the words, right? And there are some other issues that you have to be subtle about. You cannot just spell them out, because one, to avoid being perceived as someone that is very petty, and then to avoid unnecessary misunderstanding. So I'm going to paint a picture. For example, you've been, okay, let's say this is like a marriage relationship, right? Okay, so for example, you've been cooking for someone. Oh, your husband, not someone, please. I really hope nobody's doing cool ministry, but I mean, you could be cooking for your boyfriend as well. I'm not saying that's bad or good, but yeah. So you made a meal, for example, and then the person comes back to say, I'm not interested, I'm not eating. Maybe because they are really not hungry, or because you did not tell them what kind of meal you're making before you made it. And it could be anything, right? But they just came to say, they are not interested, they're not eating. And I mean, you've been stressing in the kitchen and all of that. And that kind of situation, if you want to communicate how you feel about it, you cannot just go on to the person and say, what's the meaning of that? If you're not careful, it's going to lead to a very full-blown war or quarrel, as the case may be, right? So for situations like that, I'm sure I cannot imagine how you'd feel about it. You're going to be really, really mad and all of that. But it's very, I think I mentioned very well last week that you have to pause for a while and process your emotions before you communicate, especially when you're angry. If it's a conversation from a displeasure or about a displeasure, you have to be careful of your words, and you can never be able to choose your words if you respond in anger. So you need to calm down first. So for this situation, you need to definitely calm down first, and then maybe not talk about it, right? I mean, I do that a lot when I'm angry. Actually, most times I don't talk about it immediately. I process it. I process the action, process the person's reasoning, process my response, process the consequences of various responses. What response will be best? I take my time, trust me. I take my time to process things a lot, and afterwards I come back to say, oh, you know what, you did something yesterday, I don't like it, let's talk about it, what happened. Yeah, so that's a way, a strategy, a way to go about that. Or you could be the kind of person I want to talk about it there and then, but then make sure that of course you're calm first, and then you talk about it. And make sure that you calmly talk about it. So I do processing because I don't want to respond in anger, because like I said, or like I've been saying, words are like eggs. Once it goes out, that's it. No matter how sorry you are later on, it doesn't really change what you said. It doesn't really erase it from the other person's head or something. So, and that's why I'm actually doing this whole series, because so many people have said the very things that they do not mean. They really, really don't mean them. But from anger, from hurt, from pain, they just say it, and then that's it. That's the end. All right. So another strategy I feel like people can use is that you talk about what you feel about the situation you are in to another person while the person that is putting you in that situation is around. Okay, let me see if I can paint the scenario. So scenario. Okay, so let's say that, let me just use the cooking scenario back then. Let's stick with that. All right, so you've been stressing in the kitchen, you've been so stressed, and on a normal, if you don't want to, like, please, if it wasn't from a place of, oh, let me just do this for this person and please the person, you probably would not even cook, right? If you're that kind of person that you don't like cook every time, it's just like a once in a while thing. But because the person is around, and you just feel like, okay, let me just like make sure that this person is okay, and then you do that, and then you feel like the person is not as appreciative as the person should be. One way to probably deal with that would be that, get on a call, make a call to someone else, and then while the person is there, you talk about it to the other person, not in a way that will make the person, like I mentioned, it's very important to use the I technique. Like, I feel so stressed and tired lately. I've been doing a lot of cooking, or maybe not cooking. In fact, I don't like cooking. Cooking is actually a big deal, but no. Let's just leave it at that. Anyways, I've been doing a lot of cooking, and it's been really stressful. I come back from work and I go to the kitchen immediately. It doesn't even look like I have a choice not to. It's been really stressful and all of that. And please don't go on to now say, and then the person I'm doing all for is not appreciative. Oh my god, that would bring a defense response than to bring a, oh, how do you feel? Are you okay? Do you understand? So yeah. So I believe that if you do it like that, or if you go about it that way, the person will definitely come to say, are you serious? You've been stressed? Oh, I'm so sorry. What can I help with? And thank you. The kind of response that you would have wanted. Yeah, so that's a strategy. Something else I read from a book is mentioning the issue while you guys pray together. So yes, this is of course for romantic relationship, marriage, or while you guys are like, it could even be in talking stage. That's if you pray together in talking stage. But yeah, you get my point. So mentioning it and be like, okay, God, okay, you're holding in serious prayer moments and all of that, and you're like, God, thank you for the gift of this person. Thank you for giving us to each other. God, I want you to help me, touch my husband's heart, or these person's heart, my spouse heart, my partner's heart, whatever it is you want to call it. I've been having issues lately, stress from work, and doesn't seem to understand. He's not really understanding what I feel right now. Help me to make him understand. Your issue might be different, but something like that. Of course, in a way, just be very careful in a way that the other person does not feel guilty and become defensive, right? So you're saying it from the very bottom of your heart, like from the depth of your heart, and the person is seeing how sincere you look while you make that very sincere heartfelt prayer. I'm very sure that the conversation will come up from that, and you'll be able to communicate more properly and settle the matter. Yeah, I'm sure. All right, so for strategies, those are the ones I know. I'm going to be adding up as soon as I get the knowledge. And of course, if you know other things that can work, like I've mentioned before, this place is not just a place where I come to talk what I know, right? It's a place where we are learning together. So please do well to drop your well of knowledge. Just give us a bit from it in the comment section. Yeah. All right. So another thing I think about communication is that the moment you stop communicating or put a pause to it, what you do is create a gap whereby the other person now feels like they are very far away from you. So for people in long distance relationship, that communication has to be more intentional and all of that. The moment you decide that, well, I'll talk to him tomorrow, and then you keep pushing it. I'll talk to her tomorrow. We'll catch up over the weekend, and then you keep pushing it. What you do is that if you're not careful, because even if you're very careful, once you do that procrastination and just, or maybe some things that happen in your life, you just feel like, this is not so necessary. I don't have to tell her this. No, this is not so important. I don't have to tell her that. I don't have to tell him this. Something that normally, if you guys were like together, sane, physically, you would definitely talk about, right? But because you're far away, just feel, it's going to be too much stress to not pick up my phone and then call because of this one. Let me just leave it. I know that there are some gists or some talks that might not be necessary in quotes, right? But it's very important that you do not allow that to like be the normal for you in your relationship, not just long distance, of course, but especially long distance relationship, because every little bit of information that you fail to share to the other person creates a gap. I mean, every time that kind of thing happens, you just feel you're not talking about this, and somehow in your mind it just becomes a normal, and without even having to think of should we talk about this or not, you are already not, you're just naturally not talking about it, and then you begin to skip information. Before you know it, you're going onto the serious one, and it just when it comes up and becomes an issue, you just be like, I didn't tell you. Oh, I thought I did. I mean, it definitely started from somewhere. So yeah, be mindful of that in your relationship. It could be, of course, friendship as well, because every relationship survives from information sharing, talking about it, communicating, relying on the other person for comfort, gisting with the other person. If you know me, you know how much I love gisting. So yeah, catch up with your friends, catch up with people around that you care about, and please, if you're in a relationship, this is not for you. Like, the catching up thing is not for you. Talk, communicate, converse daily, as I don't want to use the word often, but as much as possible. I'm not saying call each other every second of the day or send a WhatsApp message every second of the day. There are different ways to communication, right? You can send voice notes. I just want to say hello, and then give it like laugh, like your best laughter, of course. You could just come to say, hey, what's up? Are you enjoying your lunch break? What's up? What's going on? You don't have to. It's not every time that you now become a person. He's not picking my color. It's not. Now there are ways to these things, and the person feels with you even when you guys are not together. So yeah, next week I would have to write this down so I won't forget. But I'm going to be talking about some ways to do communication in long distance relationship. Well, I have a little bit of experience with that. I mean, I've had friends that have kept long distance. Like, in fact, majority of my friends are like long distance. We're not in the same space at the moment, and so yes, I know this is just friendship, but I'm very sure that it's also going to help with relationship as well. So yeah, stay tuned for next week. Do not miss next week episode. It's also going to be the last episode for this season, so of course, yes, please be with me in it. And yeah, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, well, you can still do that. You should do that. The subscribe button does not buy it. All right, so thank you guys for listening. It's a very great pleasure, recording every week. It has taught me consistency. Yeah, it's still teaching me consistency, and I'm really grateful for the privilege. It's one thing to record, it's another thing to be heard, it's another thing to have people listen, and I'm thankful for you. Yeah, you. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I'll come your way again in the next episodes. Stay good, please. Stay happy. It's crazy out there. Stay happy. Make sure you do, and of course, be a better communicator. That's why we are doing this. All right, guys. Bye.